That is a high level strategy.
That is diabolical, bro.
I was gonna say, I bet you I know what it is. Or now I gotta pay closer attention. All right,
Chris, we're not live, right? Oh no, go ahead. We're good. Never mind.
And my mic was muted, but now we're doing it, guys. The Knicks Giannis rumors are heating up, and there is a lot more to discuss, as we have also seen the reason why the New York Knicks have struggled with the beginning of this season, and we're going to break it all down. Guys, welcome back to Knicks Happy Hour. What's up? Welcome back. As you all can see, we have a very special guest here today. He is the host of Suns Digest. He is the host of Celtics Digest. He got to see his favorite team, the Boston Celtics, win the NBA Finals, and unfortunately, in a game that didn't actually happen, see the Celtics beat the Knicks in the first game of the season. Bruce Veliz, welcome to the team. Big name right in the front right there for a second, because I realized I forgot to do that. Bruce, thank you for coming on to the show. We've talked about this for a while, having you on. Thank you for being here, man. Let's talk some ball. Obviously, you're a Celtics fan, but you're paying attention to the second best team in the Eastern Conference. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for Dariel and Matt as well having us on. This is going to be a fantastic time, and I can't wait to chop it up with you boys and just break it down. We've been talking in the group chats, been discussing basketball this whole season, but we haven't been able to do it face-to-face. And Celtics and the Knicks supposed to be the top two teams in the Eastern Conference, so we should see them battling it out through the entire season. So this should be some fun discussions.
Bruce, I'm thrilled to have you on. We've talked a lot, and I've been on Celtics Digest once or twice as I just pour myself a drink here because, frankly, it's happy hour. No White Claw today. Shout out to Angry Orchard. They hooked me up with some cans after I paid for them. It was very nice of them. But obviously, Matt is back. Dariel is back. Held down the fort last week. Guys, I'm thrilled for this to be going. We got Charlie Knicks, our moderator, in here. Sims never needs to touch the floor again. Now, guys, the Knicks, they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. And we were supposed to have the Milwaukee Bucks creator, Nick Goss, on, but he last minute had to cancel. And Bruce, who's been scheduled to be on, now he's officially on it. And we're going to talk some Knicks Celtics, obviously, throughout the stream. But guys, all of us have something in common, despite the fact that we don't happen to all be rooting for the same team. The Milwaukee Bucks, a team that were a threat to both of our favorite teams, they seemingly suck at basketball. Giannis wants out. There's rumors that the New York Knicks could be interested in Giannis, but regardless of what happens, and let me just say right now, financially, the New York Knicks cannot acquire Giannis, something I did talk about on a video. It's literally impossible this year. But here's the deal, guys. What we could see is Giannis getting moved, potentially to a different team in the Eastern Conference. The Brooklyn Nets and Miami Heat have shown wild interest in acquiring the services of Giannis. That would throw both of our teams for a loop. Now, Bruce, you're the guest, so I'm going to start with you here, and then we'll move to Matt and Dariel. I mean, are you worried about Giannis potentially getting to a team that maybe will be smarter than what the Bucks do? Because we know the Bucks are not a smart team at all.
I am definitely fearful of that. I do want to say that going into this season, I was not high on the Bucks. I had them finishing a little bit lower. I had them finishing at the 6th seed in the East. Didn't think they'd be this bad, but I thought that they would fall off a little bit just because they have some older players. Chris Middleton's coming off those double ankle surgeries and stuff like that. So it does seem like it's tough for Milwaukee in the situation that they're in, and going for that draft capital would be nice. And it's kind of enticing for Giannis to possibly want to get out, possibly go to some other teams. And the teams that are rumored to be interested in him have that draft capital, have those young players that the Bucks would be interested in to do a little fresh restart, specifically with teams like the Cavs and the Pacers still in their division that are younger and looking pretty promising. So I think I'd be very fearful as a Celtics fan if Giannis were to get traded, because he could go to a plethora of teams and take them from even a middle tier to a top tier team.
I agree. That's my big fear. Also, a team like the Brooklyn Nets, after the Mikal Bridges trade, where they got just a treasure trove of assets from the Knicks, including the Bucks' own 2025 first-round pick, I might add, that is a top 4 protected pick. Here's the thing. They could make a second move. Like, they have the capital. They have the assets to go out there and acquire a Trae Young or something like that. Someone who the Hawks have been known to, if they were offered what they wanted to be offered, Trae Young would not be an Atlanta Hawk right now. All right, Matt, off to you. Giannis, potential other team. Is there a specific team you don't want to see him go to? We can extend this to the Western Conference, we'll also say, but obviously, you know, the conferences do matter in basketball in terms of playoffs.
I'm gonna talk about a Western Conference here. I'm gonna have a question for you about the Western Conference. But first, the team I don't want to see Giannis go to is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Undefeated so far this year. They're looking amazing. They have really tall guys. Evan Mobley. Like, I don't know what is making them so good this season, but they have figured it out like crazy. They're off to a blazing hot start. Already beat the Knicks. They're not just beating up on bad teams here. They're beating legitimate teams. Donovan Mitchell, we know he's a star, so we don't need to. I'm not giving him too many props here, but that I think would be the scariest team, because if he goes to the Pacers, like we were talking about before, that is the tier of team that would try to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. But even though we got eliminated from the Pacers last season, I just cannot be afraid of that team. Tyrese Halliburton does not have that dog in him, and Tyrese Halliburton and Giannis, even with those two guys, I still could not be worried about the Indiana Pacers. Chris, there's one team in the Western Conference with tons and tons and tons and tons of draft picks.
I knew this was coming.
Is it possible for Giannis Antetokounmpo to join Chet Holmgren and the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Why is it in the news that the Knicks want him and not the Oklahoma City Thunder, seeing how they have what seems to be the brightest future in the NBA?
The Thunder are really into the fact that they have all these draft picks and they have all this cap space they could use. And the fact is, something that would sting a little bit even more is if the New York Knicks are to go out there and not get Giannis, or that I started that statement wrong, but if the Thunder are going to go out there and get Giannis, they're going to use a contract of a former Knick and Isaiah Hartenstein. Guys making $27 million. Thunder have cap space. That could be a thing. Dariel, you're very anti-Giannis to the Knicks. I know this about you because I talked to you a good amount, so
yeah.
You were waiting for it, I know.
Listen, man, give me one specific skill that Giannis has.
He's the
I don't want to hear
defender in basketball history.
Oh my God, get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear motor. I don't want to hear aggressiveness. That's not a skill. Give me a specific skill. Ball handling. His jump shot is getting better, but in my opinion, shut up. Just kidding. But his jump shot is getting better, but it's not to the point where it should have been. Yes, I understand. He has an MVP. He has a championship ring. That championship, by the way, it's in the same conversation as the Lakers bubble championship, because the only reason why they were able to get past the Brooklyn Nets was because Kevin Durant was by himself. James Harden was playing on one leg, even though I don't like James Harden. Kyrie Irving busted up his ankle pretty bad. And then the Milwaukee Bucks had a nice little pathway to the championship. Having said all of that, Giannis to me he's still underperforming. If Giannis was able to put basketball skills in his tool belt, he'd be in the conversation for best player of all time. But he's still playing the way he's been playing for the last 6 seasons. Put my head down. Let me go straight to the rack. Let me hope I don't get an offensive foul. And if you've seen lately, when they still put up a wall, Giannis still has a tendency to not figure out the defense. The only reason why he's getting his numbers is because he just barrels through everybody. He's obviously he's a lot more aggressive and he dunks on everybody's head. Yeah, kudos. But me personally, I want my star player, I want my best player on my team to have a specific basketball skill that you can point to and being like, this guy is legit. Jalen Brunson, his footwork. Jalen Brunson, his shot. Jalen Brunson getting to the rack. Those are 3 things off the top of the dome. Giannis, is his ball handling good? We don't really talk about it. His shot is still, What else? Yeah, man, I'm just not a big fan of Giannis being on the Knicks. I also want to piggyback on what you guys are talking about, the Cleveland Cavaliers. What are they? 6, 7, 8, or 9-0? What are they? 9-0?
I was 9 last time I checked. Yeah.
Yeah, 9-0. That gives me. You know what? That's a hand wave. Hand wave to the Cleveland Cavaliers because again, they are being led by a Donovan Mitchell player who, when he was with the Utah Jazz, granted, they never had a 9-0 beginning to the start of the season with the Utah Jazz, but a Donovan Mitchell-led team, what's the ceiling of that? It's the first round, maybe once in a blue moon, a second round playoff exit. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the Eastern Conference Utah Jazz when Donovan Mitchell was on that team. They're going to have a great regular season, great regular season. Kudos to Kenny Atkinson, who got wronged by Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving when they went to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
He's the one that completely changed the culture. He's the one that completely changed the way the Brooklyn Nets were looked at. They gained the respect. So I'm glad Kenny Atkinson is getting the flowers that he deserves. But as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers, should we be worried about them? I'm not necessarily worried. I don't care what they do in the regular season until April 16th, when Donovan Mitchell can finally prove that he can lead a team past the second round of the playoffs. I know I went on a rant I know I went on a huge, what the hell is that word I'm thinking of? Thank you. Sorry.
Gotcha.
I know I went on a huge rant, but to answer those two questions, I do not want Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Knicks as my best player, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they get a hand wave.
I'll say this: the Utah Jazz, they did start 9-0 with Donovan Mitchell, I believe, and they did absolutely nothing. So your point still stands.
The Utah Jazz started 9-0 one year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Real good.
They've had some yeah, I was gonna say they've had some really good regular seasons, but I was saying I'm not afraid of them right now. If you're telling me with Giannis on that team, Giannis and Donovan Mitchell, you're still not scared?
Hypotheticals are interesting, man, because I got to see who else is on that team.
So I agree with you that they're not scary right now. They can go 14-0, 15-0. They're still the Cavaliers. They're still best players Donovan Mitchell. So I understand that. I can get behind that. All I'm saying is Giannis could be scary. Chris, what you got?
Okay, so I do have to go to our comments because I love our commenters, specifically the homie Charlie Knicks, who's on a separate note, right? Jericho Sims has to never touch the floor again. Just total throwaway right there, but very true. He asked if the Knicks could massively gut the team and grab Giannis. Not that he's interested but he's more if it's possible. Here's the thing. The New York Knicks' best chance to financially acquire Giannis is what you have to do is you have to wait till next season because the Bucks are in the second apron. The way the New York Knicks made the trade with Mikal Bridges, they are not legally allowed to go into the second apron. It's not a fear of avoiding it. It's they cannot go into it. Bruce is like, facts. Bruce is actually... He's taught me about some of the NBA cap space, specifically what an Exhibit 9 contract is. I have to hit you up for that one.
I got you. Yeah, no, the little implications and stuff is very hard, but I know about the Knicks kind of not being able to go into the second apron, where they're like barred off at the first apron.
Yes.
Like they physically cannot get in there.
Mm-hmm. So the way to do the Giannis trade is you have to wait till next year because Mitchell Robinson's on a depreciating value contract, meaning next season Mitch is going to make less money than he made this season. And then you're hoping the Bucks are out of the second apron. You're hoping the Knicks are a little bit removed from it so the Knicks could trade Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby, but that comes with a bunch of picks the Knicks don't have. Essentially, there's no way for the Knicks to get Giannis. Here's the thing. I'm actually curious because I'm very positive on something. So there's a running thought in basketball where between 12 to 18 months, no matter what, a true NBA star, someone who can be an all-star starter or maybe a perennial all-star starter, is Dariel knows exactly where I'm going with this because we've talked about this before. They're going to request a trade. They're going to try to switch teams. It usually works because the power is in the players right now. But every 12 to 18 months, you'll see a true star, a true perennial all-star, potential all-star starter request a trade, and usually they get their wish. Does anyone disagree that Giannis is going to get traded from the Bucks? And then also we are going to go back to some comments, but it came up in my head, and I have to ask you guys. If anyone says no, I'm taking a drink because that man's gone in the offseason. If not
No.
there.
No.
You think, yeah.
So you're talking about this season that we're in right now.
In this NBA season that technically stretches for the next couple months, like into the offseason, we'll say. So not exactly the next NBA season, but into the offseason. Do you think Giannis gets traded? By this time next year, is Giannis on the Bucks?
Well, it depends, I think.
On the bounce back?
From what we've seen from the Bucks, or at least what I'm seeing from the Bucks right now, is Dame and Giannis are their two X factors. Obviously, there's no Middleton there, so we can't really value how much he's going to be able to contribute. But players like Bobby Portis are good on the offensive side, but not the greatest on the defensive side. They have a lot of young players that a lot of Bucks fans want to see play, like Andre Jackson Jr. and stuff like that, get more run and more time, and the Bucks really aren't giving them that. Taurean Prince, I think, is a solid role player, but I think the Bucks either have to either go all in with Giannis this year and find something to like solve that issue, or else he will be out because they haven't made the Eastern Conference Finals since they won the championship. So they have a lot. They've had 3 seasons, 2 of them obviously injured. Giannis was injured, but 3 seasons where they've yet to make an Eastern Conference Finals or a real deep playoff push. If Giannis wants to win and still wants to compete, I think he'd want to ask out. And from the beginning of the season, he even had like that weird quote or whatever where it was like, I might be getting traded soon, but it was like him kind of asking out, but not asking out really. So like, I think in his mind, if it's an unsuccessful season, he'll want out. But if the Bucks make it successful with putting pieces around him, he'll stay. But with the second apron and all those things, I don't know if it'll be possible.
Yo. The whole like second apron stuff, that is not my world, Bruce. I'm gonna need you to teach me offline, Chris, as well. But one thing that I feel like people forget is, yo, that playoff round against the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler absolutely cooked against the Milwaukee Bucks. People forget that Coach Bud lost his brother in the middle of that playoff series. He was like, and then they fired him right after they got upset. Like, I get it. I think the Bucks were the 1 seed and the Miami Heat were the 8 seed. Okay, I get it. Huge upset. But Giannis went down with an injury. Coach Bud lost a sibling in the middle of the series. Like, how is that not going to affect you? And then on top of that, the season after that, Giannis gets hurt with a calf injury a week prior to playoffs. Damian Lillard gets hurt, I think, with a calf injury as well within the first 3 games of the playoff series against the Indiana Pacers. I think the Milwaukee Bucks, first of all, I think they made a wrong decision in firing Coach Bud. I think they just panicked because of just the how everybody reacted to the Milwaukee Bucks getting upset by the Miami Heat. The whole like NBA world, like their mind like exploded. Like, how could this happen? Jimmy Butler, yeah, 50 points, 45 points in a playoff game, absolutely cooking Drew Holiday. But I think the Milwaukee Bucks absolutely panic. And Chris, going back to your question to answer it, do I think Giannis will be on the Bucks by the time the next season starts? I know this is a little bit of a cop-out, but I'm not sure. It depends on how the rest of this season goes. If they continue, if they even be a 500 team, because right now they're what, 2-7, I believe. If they're a 500 team, because last night they beat the team.
Jazz.
Yeah, the Jazz. And they actually inserted, I think, Jackson into the starting lineup, and he took out Gary Trent Jr. So they're trying something new, which, 2 claps for Doc, even though his coaching pedigree is ridiculous. But if they keep playing, if they're a 500 team for the rest of the season, I think Giannis will not be part of the Bucks anymore. But we never know, man. Dame could like, he could hit the switch and he could literally turn into old school Dame time. And then Chris Middleton comes back, his ankle might be better. So there's just too many intangibles up in the air that I can't really put my finger on it. But
Bruce, can I ask you a random question that kind of has nothing to do with any of this?
Yeah, sure.
Doc Rivers was traded off the Celtics, right?
Yes, so Doc Rivers actually requested the trade off the Celtics as well because Doc did not. So Doc did, when the Celtics went to rebuild, he did not want to be on a rebuilding team anymore. So he requested like some internal stuff, and then that's how Brad got hired to the Celtics. And then to also answer to further on Dariel's question before Matt speaks on the topic, I would like to say that I would agree that firing Mike Budenholzer was a panic move because the Suns are 7-1 with Mike Budenholzer as their head coach at this very moment and are on a 6-game win streak, and they have changed their whole entire culture in Phoenix from last year to this year with adding Mike Budenholzer. So I'd agree that that was definitely a panic move and definitely a wrongful decision because Doc is not changing anything.
All right, so I feel like we kind of got to get this back a little bit more Knicks related. Chris, we got a question. I'm going to send it to you from Wisdom in the chat. He doesn't think we should be talking about trades at this point, and he thinks that we have everything already, and it's the coaching that needs to change. Do you think that there are coaching changes that need to be made at Madison Square Garden?
I think the hate on Tom Thibodeau right now is being heavily overblown by the fact that the New York Knicks in general are trying to manage to figure out a completely new roster. This team has a few returning players and a lot of guys who are different. You don't have the guy who's led the Knicks in win shares on a handful of seasons over the last 7 years or so in Mitchell Robinson. There's a reason There is a reason why Mitchell Robinson is the only player from the pre-Leon Rose era on the New York Knicks, despite his incredibly tradable contract. When Mitchell Robinson is on the floor, the New York Knicks work better. And not just the New York Knicks, the Tom Thibodeau team works better because you get a 4-out-1-in system that can be true this year because you have Karl Anthony Towns over Julius Randle. Now, I love Julius. I'm a big fan of Julius. There's no argument that when Mitchell Robinson's on the court, Karl Anthony Towns fits better because he shoots 40-something% from three. Highest three-point percentage in the NBA as of right now. Maybe still. I know he went 0 for 2, so that might not be the case anymore. But I think the Knicks are figuring this thing out. Look, you're a new team. They started 3-4 last year. They started 3-4 the year before. The Knicks are known for slow starts. Jalen Brunson starts a little bit slow every year. Last season, he was hitting 40% from three, but was shooting 33% from the field for the first two weeks of the season. Brunson happens to be a slow starter, which is fine. And when he starts slow, because basically since day one he got to the Knicks, he was evidently their best player. It's fine that he starts slow, but when your best player starts slow and you don't have a team that has the ability to pick up the pieces like someone's team below me right here, below me on the screen, like you can't really afford a Jalen Brunson team, especially with Brunson being their point guard and being the guy that everything runs through. Like, yes, I understand that since I referenced the Celtics, I do want to mention, also because Bruce is here, I understand their offense runs through Tatum, but the Celtics are the best well-oiled machine in basketball. They have a great coach in Joe Mazzulla. Brad Stevens in general is just a legendary basketball mind. It's very clear. And they have more of the opportunity to clean up because the things that Derek White does and the things that Jaylen Brown do, they give more synergy to what Jason Tatum will be missing out on when Tatum has one of those patented cold games. So
patented cold games.
He has those games, not this season. I'm aware. I know.
Yeah.
I know, Bruce. I know.
Yeah, Chris, one thing for you. According to the chat, can you take a look at your OBS and make sure your mic's good? We're getting some people are just saying you're like quiet and stuff a little bit.
And the mic is up. There we go.
All right, there we go. I had to cut you off for a second there.
Nah, thank you, Cody, for mentioning it. What's up with his mic? We could barely hear him. What up, Keith Turner? How you doing, bro? All right, we got it better now.
Hopefully the mic is good, but can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I wasn't able to give my post-game analysis on Monday's game and Wednesday's game. Blow it up! No, I'm kidding. Absolutely not. I think until Mitchell Robinson comes back, and even when he comes back, it's gonna take a while for him to get acclimated back into basketball shape. So we're not gonna see this team at full strength for a while. So having said that, I think we really need to shift our expectations to the Knicks being hopefully a 500 team until Mitchell Robinson comes back, because the game against Houston and then the game against Atlanta, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was we are asking so much from Cat. We're asking him to be the defensive anchor. We're asking him to rebound everything off the glass. We're asking him to be one of the offensive leaders in every game. We're asking way too much from Cat, and he's already in a position that he doesn't like. He's naturally a 4. He likes that position. Some may say he's better off in that position. But until Mitchell Robinson comes back, or Jericho Sims or Ariel Hukporti, their ascension really starts to take hold. That's really more for Ariel Hukporti because Jericho Sims is not going to happen. But after those 2 games, I'm just like, damn, man. Like, you guys know how I feel about Cat, but the amount that we're asking for him to do is not fair to him. And you could bring up the argument of the money and the contract and all that stuff, but I just don't think we're gonna be. I don't think we're gonna be where everybody expects us to be until we're back at full strength. And I really think we need to shift our expectations and hopefully be a 500 team, or a little bit better than a 500 team until Mitchell Robinson comes back. Maddie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you trust, even when Mitchell Robinson is back, can we trust him to stay healthy? I'm not even sure.
So yeah, no, absolutely not. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, yeah, you're good. What I want to see, I want to see Hukporti at the 5 and Cat shifted to the 4. Maybe he can't handle it today because he's a rookie, and that would be ridiculous to ask of the 58th overall pick in his first month of NBA basketball to be a starting 5. but I really want to see what it would look like. We've been talking about, we've been maybe a little bit overhyping Ariel Hukporti and Tyler Kolek, but Tibbs doesn't like to play rookies, and they both have cracked the rotation, which is crazy to see.
Well, Tyler cracked the rotation because Campaign's out with a hamstring.
Good.
I'll take it. Campaign was, Dariel, you were talking about how we always talk, everyone says you get Campaign, you're like, oh, good, we added offense. But he's been pretty good offensively. He's been one of our better 3-point shooters so far, and he's been letting him fly. He's been letting him fly. So can you give him some credit that he actually is adding offense to the team, or are you not pleasantly surprised yet?
No, I'm not pleasantly surprised. He does this during the regular season. Talk to me when April 16th comes around. And
when he went 46% from three in the
on
playoffs
how many
last
shots?
year. 3.6 threes per game off the bench. 1.6 makes. That is good shooting.
3-point shots in a game? Are you kidding me?
In 15 minutes of action. What do you want from him? He's not a 36-minute player. Also, Dario, can you just angle your camera? We're seeing the bottom half of your face.
What is it better or?
Yeah, there we go.
A little bit more, tiny bit more. You're almost there. All right, there we go. We're good.
Y'all should have told me that so much more.
Dude, I texted you. I didn't want to say it on the camera. All right. Hey, what up, Bryson? We got Thunder Digest, Bryson Atkins in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Bryson?
Dude,
yeah,
okay.
no, Campaign. I'm not pleasantly surprised.
So we have
Dariel said if he's not in a Knicks jersey, it doesn't count.
So we have our resident Hukporti supporter, Nick Yak, in here, and he hasn't mentioned Hukporti that much, but he does think I'm blaming Jalen Brunson by saying he had a slow start, which is not at all what I said. I just said Jalen Brunson has a slow start, and when Jalen Brunson has a slow start, the Knicks are going to play a little bit worse. Yes, the problem is the Knicks' interior defense. Guess what? That's not going to change till Mitchell Robinson's back or Jericho Sims stops playing basketball. But we do have to get I do have to get some questions into Bruce here. So specifically, this is usually how I started off with guests who aren't Knicks fans. Outsider perspective of the New York Knicks.
Outside perspective.
Just where, from this New York Knicks team that you've seen, what do you think of them so far? What's a problem you've seen with them? I'm very curious.
So I think the main concern for the Knicks, and I think this is something that we discussed in the group chat, is just that the Knicks starting off the season had 12 guys under contract and didn't have enough roster spots with players, like you said, Mitchell Robinson out, and key impact players like Karl-Anthony Towns being newly acclimated. I think it's just going to take time for this Knicks team really to gel, and we've had discussions with other creators on who's really the top contenders in the Eastern Conference, and I think that the Knicks kind of going into the season were the best contender for the Boston Celtics. They matched up the best. They kind of went out and did that specifically to kind of go up against the Celtics team, going after and getting Mikal Bridges, going out and getting players in OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Josh Hart, I think to you guys is kind of how Celtics fans view Derek White, kind of that role player that a lot of players think very highly of and are very appreciative of and kind of does all the little dirty things for you guys. And then obviously you have Jalen Brunson, who's one of the better point guards in the league, if not the top point guard. So I think the Knicks have a solid squad. It's just that you guys haven't had the time to be fully together and play with each other and to have that cohesion. I also think that you guys mentioned some players off the bench like Hukporti. You guys mentioned Tyler Kolek. I know they're rookies, but Tibbs playing them is kind of key because Tibbs doesn't play rookies, but I'd like to see them kind of grow. I don't really know much about Hukporti. I know a little bit more about Kolek. I think he could be a nice little point guard off the bench. And I haven't really watched much about the Knicks, but I know McBride is a little bit of a player that you want to see be a six-man, kind of be that DiVincenzo replacement for you guys off the bench. But he is a tradable contract, so I don't know if he has a long-term stay with the Knicks with all your guards that you added or not. But that's kind of my analyzation of the Knicks. They're a good team. I think that they just need to get healthy, play together. They might not be a top 2 or 3 seed in the East just because of standings-wise of how they are. But I think in the Eastern Conference, once it comes playoff time, they will be a top 2 or top 3 team. And if they run into a Cleveland in the first round, or if they run into a Indiana in the first round, I think they'll be able to handle them.
Yeah, I kind of am of the mindset, and I said this and I got some crap for it, that I just don't think the Knicks are going to be a 2 seed again. I'm not surprised by the middle of the road start at all. I have multiple videos where I said I believe through the first 20 games the Knicks are going to be somewhere around 10-10. They might be a little over or a little under 500. New group, new team. It's going to take time. Now, real quick, Bryson, he's not the big brick. He's the big
I saw you laughing at that.
Yeah, and Thunder, everyone else in this convo doesn't matter. Disagree. But no,
Chris, first 20 games, what record would worry you? Like, are you worried at 7-13, 8-12?
7-13 would make me uncomfortable. 6 wins is where I'm really like, okay, something's wrong here. Like, for me, it would be 6 wins. It's where I'm like, there is something wrong. 7-13, I think, damn, this is a slow start. The Knicks are gonna be a playoff team that's just better in the playoffs.
I mean, I absolutely agree that they're going to be better in the playoffs because they look like they've played in the recent playoffs. They play like the Heat, where everyone's jumping on, diving on the floor, everyone's hustling harder than the other team, and their coach coaches them pretty well. Even though we've talked a lot about Tom Thibodeau tonight, but he's coached them pretty well in the past. He had a great season last year, and we're hoping that he can piece it all together come playoff time and make it work for this new lineup. Dariel, are you worried about Mikal Bridges' slow start here?
Nah, I actually think Mikal. The whole thing about Mikal's shot in the summer was way like everybody.
Chris was blowing that up for
of course.
reason, bro.
Yeah, definitely was my idea to make that.
Oh my, Chris texted me one day. He's like, dude, Mikal Bridges' shot. I need to drop everything and make a video on this right now.
Bruce, you know everything about making a video that's totally not told to be made or anything like that.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I definitely do.
Mikal Bridges, like the hitch in his shot in the summer, that was kind of crazy, but I feel like he's okay. Like I'm looking at his
from 3.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at this right now. 37% from 3. That's on 6.5 3-point attempts.
Pretty good.
Field goals is 49.5%, and that's on 13 attempts. Like those are good numbers. He's doing good. He's averaging 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists. I think Mikal Bridges is fine. I kind of wanted to go back to the point of the first 20 games. So I'm looking at the Knicks schedule right now. So tonight they have Milwaukee, the Pacers, the 76ers, the Bulls, Nets. They play the Nets, I believe. Yeah, back to back. That's kind of crazy. But the next few games, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how the Knicks fare out up until the 20 games. But I'm with Chris, man. If I see like 7-13 or 6 wins, something like that, even 8 wins, I might start getting concerned. I think until Mitchell Robinson comes back and he gets fully acclimated, I think the more and more games that I see go by, Deuce is just getting the importance on Deuce's ascension is becoming critical. Every game that I watch, I'm like, oh my God, we need Deuce to produce so much more than I was expecting. And I don't know how I feel about that. Maddie, how do you feel watching Deuce every game and you're seeing Jalen Brunson with a slow start? You're seeing us depend on Karl-Anthony Towns so much. And yeah, Mikal Bridges could put the ball in the bucket. Josh Hart comes up with time he plays. But how do you feel about Deuce's play? Like, how do you feel?
I think we need Deuce to be a microwave scorer off the bench and score a ton of points if the team's going to be winning a lot of games, because we've seen games where he's looked amazing. And then he had that. It was the Rockets. The Rockets was the game where he missed every shot.
Yes.
I think it was the Rockets game. He looked bad that game, but he gets a pass because there have been some games like against the Celtics. The Celtics might have won by 50 if Deuce didn't just hit darn near every shot he took. Yeah. So I have full faith in Deuce. I think his rise is definitely important, like you mentioned, because we gutted a lot of our depth. So we need Deuce to be that depth right now, and he can't do it all by himself. But with the campaign injury, we're kind of asking him to do that all by himself right now, which is not fair. But I say he's performed pretty well here. And with that Mikal Bridges question, I just gotta, before I assassinate my own character here, I gotta make sure I put out there that through the week leading up to Knicks Happy Hour, I look at all the Knicks headlines, and when I see something that I like maybe disagree with heavily or slightly, I'll bring it up because it's just a fun talking point. I also agree that Mikal Bridges, we shouldn't be worried about his start because he's been here for 7 games. That's just way too fast to be.
I agree.
You can't put anything in the books after 7 games. No championships are won after 7 games into the regular season. So I think he's got plenty of time to turn it around. I think his shot is fine. Chris.
I ask you guys a question about Mikal Bridges. So,
Absolutely.
what do you guys expect of Mikal Bridges? Is kind of my question, because with the Suns, we saw him be a third, fourth-ish type guy. Then with the Nets, we saw him that first season be really dominant. But then last year, we kind of realized that he couldn't be that number one star. So many people think that on like a championship team, like I would think he would be a third, maybe fourth piece on a championship winning team, but I didn't necessarily know what your guys' opinion was, because I know obviously Brunson and Cat are the 1 and 2, Anunoby and Bridges are most likely the 3 and 4, but who would you guys like put higher or lower, or is it just like whoever's on that night gets that third star, similar to how the Celtics are with like Derek White, KP, and Drew?
Well, the Knicks made their team in the make and model of the Celtics. So when they now having OG, now having Mikal, having these guys, it's become this thing where the Knicks really more than anything, it's like they want to go out there and be able to have different guys kind of have the scoring by committee. Like you have your top 2 stars and you don't know which one of them is going to be the main scorer that night. It's kind of dependent on who's hot, the matchups, all that. So it is very similar to Boston, how Boston has like ideally Tatum's going to be the number 1 guy with Brown behind him, but sometimes that flips. That's the same thing as Brunson and Towns. And then with Mikal and OG, it's the same thing. With Mikal, what you're hoping for is him locking down the lead guard and then also after that putting up like solid points. Like you want him more in that Suns role than you do in the Nets role, but there is a hybrid to it because what the Knicks want out of Mikal Bridges is him to be the guy who can run with the bench unit and create his own shots because, yeah, he's not some all-league shot creator, but if you let him run against an opposing bench unit, you're going to see the efficiency go up. You're going to see it work out. And then after not too long, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be in that game. You see a lot of Brunson and OG, and you'll see a lot of Mikal and Towns for size reasonings and for the difference in guarding people. And the rotation's going to change again once Mitchell Robinson is back and healthy. But as of right now, what we're seeing is we're going to see a lot of Mikal be that essentially hybrid third option with OG while also having the responsibility of taking on whoever the lead ball handler is. The Knicks like him against the lead ball handler. I like that idea for the most part, but then there's also times where it's like, for instance, the Celtics. There's no reason why Mikal would ever guard Drew or something like that. Like he would be on Brown. For some reason, we had him on Tatum in the first night. That was really stupid, but you know.
Yo, Bruce, to answer your question, I think it's kind of like, Jalen Brunson and Cat, they're all 1 and 2. And then for that third spot, it's really like whoever's on between Mikal and OG. So we'll see what happens with that. But I actually wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to see, is your expectation a repeat?
My expectation for the Celtics, yes, it is a repeat. I would expect, because the Celtics, in my opinion, went out and they only lost 2 players. They lost Baylor Shireman. They lost Fima Hailuk and they lost O'Shea Brissett. They replaced both of those players, who Fima Hailuk and O'Shea Brissett weren't really main contributors, with Baylor Shireman, a rookie, and with Jordan Walsh, who was on their roster last year, filling that role. And Walsh looks better than Brissett. With Tatum and Brown also getting better, and with the Celtics having this record with KP out, I would expect them to repeat. But in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks are the team that, if fully healthy, scares me the most. Out west, it's Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I'm calling it now. I think it's gonna be a finals of OKC and Boston. If the Knicks are fully healthy, I'm thinking the Knicks against Boston in 7. But yo, I'm just like so envious of you. It's like you have no worries, bro. You have no worries. Like injuries is literally the only thing that's gonna stop you guys.
The nice thing is that we just have a lot of players that take sacrificial roles. So like a player like Drew Holiday could be a second or like a third star on a competing team, but he's playing that 4th role, or Derek White or Kristaps Porzingis. And I think that's helped a lot. And obviously you guys are kind of doing that same build with your model. And I think I've talked to my friends. I think a lot of people are going to kind of use the championship model that the Celtics have and mirror that for the next couple of years. That's going to be the kind of like build of a championship, having 2 stars with complementary pieces that can play defense and hit shots and be that third star, but having multiple guys that can do that, not just a big 3, because if you have the big 3, it's just too much money and then it's just done.
Yeah.
They can't compete.
I mean, look, well, usually this is what we did with Marcel, is because somehow it's already 6:51. There's the Knicks game at 7:30, so we got some time left. But we've hit the final 30 minutes, which means we have a guest on. Now it's time to start talking trash. The Knicks are beating the Celtics, dude. OG is going to lock up Jason Tatum in the playoffs. I mean, Mikal is a perfect matchup for Jaylen Brown. Drew Holiday seemingly cannot guard Jalen Brunson most of the time. I mean, Brunson in 26 minutes had 24 points in game one. Last time before that he played Drew Holiday, he put 40 on his head. We're in that time, Bruce. Let's talk some trash.
Wait. Before we go that time, can I ask Bruce one question?
Boom,
Of course.
yeah.
Bruce, where are you right now on your background?
I'm in TD.
So what do you call it?
TD Garden.
Okay, I'm just making sure you didn't call it. I've heard some people call it the Garden. I just wanted to make sure that people knew that was definitely not the Garden.
You guys have the Madison Square Garden, which is very nice. I've been there myself. I saw a couple seasons ago. I saw the Knicks get their first win of the year. It was like my freshman 2019. It was versus the
So it's
Bobby
6 months into the season. It was April.
It was Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis had like 31. Won you guys the
against
game.
the
It was
Bulls.
pretty fun. Yes, it
Seventh
was.
game
I
of
was
the
at
season against the Bulls.
yeah, I was at that game. That game was awesome. The atmosphere was crazy.
Dude, Bobby Portis, man. Him, Marcus Morris, the first year of Julius Randle, and then RJ Barrett looking around this team saying, I just played with Zion and Cam, and was on this awesome Duke team that lost to Taco Fall. And, I mean,
Nope.
Bruce, so just for a reference, I like to just throw a few jabs at Duke because Matt's a big Duke fan.
Oh, Matt's a big Duke fan. I got a couple big Duke fans at home too, so
Also,
I
you
can
guys
come in
wanna
with the
talk
jabs.
about that. What's your college team? We'll do that real quick.
So Seton Hall, W, but Kentucky for ball always. Kentucky, I've been a big fan of. Main reason is because John Wall, but then after that, like Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox, and then basically anybody that comes out of there. So like I'm big supporters of Dilly and Reed Shepherd this year.
What about Kentucky legend Willie Cauley-Stein, who just panned
I don't
out
mind
beautifully
Willie.
in the NBA?
I mean, actually, the one Kentucky guy I do not like is Kevin Knox because he ducked me in an elevator at MSG. So that's the one. My one Kentucky player. I asked him for a photo. He said sure, and then walked away when we got out of the elevator, coming out of the suite. It was so bad. And he was with Ignas Brazdeikis, and Brazdeikis took a photo with my friend, and Kevin Knox just walked away.
Yeah, I don't like Kevin Knox very much either. So
Yeah, Kevin Knox definitely just panicked. He probably panicked because no one's ever asked to take a picture with him before. They're like, yo, can I take a picture with you? And then Kevin's like, yeah. And they're like, wait, no, we were talking about the Fortnite suit. We want a picture of the Fortnite suit. Dude.
His aura went from 0 to -100 after Zion murdered him in that summer league game.
Dude, first game's on, ripped the ball away and then dunked on him.
And
that
Knox
was
is on his butt.
that was
legendary.
pretty sick.
If we're gonna do some trash talk, I do have some trash talk to spew, but not about the Knicks because I think we can have a commonality here with both of us. What about those Sixers?
Oh yeah, Sean Bernard, where are you?
What about those Sixers? What are your guys' thoughts on the team that is Joel Embiid, who is getting suspended as a punishment, but he doesn't want to play?
He might shove you.
But he doesn't want to play.
He might
Then
try to
they're
fight
also having injuries with Tyrese Maxey now, Paul George. I know that a lot of Sixers fans were very hyped about this season coming into it, but Chris and I were screaming that it was going to be no contest, and it's looking like it so far. They're in the Bucks, man.
Wait,
Yo,
what's the
76ers
Maxey injury?
He's a hamstring.
2 weeks.
Yeah, he pulled his hamstring. He's gonna be out for a couple weeks. Yo, the 76ers, it's done, bro. Like Joel Embiid being the best player on that team, leading you to a championship is not gonna happen. It's so far away, and it's sad because Joel Embiid, if he's ever able to put a fully healthy season from the beginning of the season all the way up until however far they get into the playoffs, championship, Eastern Conference Finals, Joel Embiid's run could be legendary, but I am so convinced that we're not going to see it. And then on top of that, you go out and get Paul George, who has proven to not be able to step up to the plate when the lights are on the brightest. It's like, some of these teams, I just don't understand what they're doing. Tyrese Maxey, you did a good job drafting him. He's going to be the future of the franchise. But, this season, they're cooked, bro. And then Joel Embiid, he's still dealing with an injury. Whenever he comes back, he's dealing with a 3-game suspension. There's always, just so much noise around that team. It's so annoying. Just play basketball, develop chemistry, and see how far you can get. Stop with all this like outside noise, bro. It's so annoying. And I think the 76ers are cooked, bro. I don't think they might get past the first round, but I'm not worried about them at all.
I have to interject very quickly. New Lord, one of our commenters and longtime viewer of the channel, he said Brunson needs shooters around him like DiVincenzo, and that Hart and Broke and Mikal aren't. That, as we know, Mikal shoots 37% from three. He's in the 40s in the corners. And also OG Anunoby shot 46% from corner threes last season, New Lord. You know I love you and that you're a longtime fan of the videos that we put out, so I'm a big fan. We talk a lot in the comments, but you're off here. OG was a 46% shooter in the corner, and Mikal shoots over 40 routinely in the corner. They are good shooters. Mikal's shooting 37% this year. They do have good shooters, and also, if you're going to mention good shooters, and this is not me just trying to talk trash about the Celtics, don't say Drew Holiday. Like, I understand he's great. I'm not hating on Drew. I love Drew Holiday. I mean, he's awesome. His wife's awesome. But at the same time, like,
I wouldn't say his best shooting. I wouldn't say that's his best quality. He was one of the better. Shooter. I mean, the only reason he might be saying this is because he was one of the better corner 3-point shooters last season. He had like one of the top percentages, but that's just because of the fact that he is playing such a role where he's not required to take as many jump shots or required to be much as an offensive force. So he's open in the corner.
And the Knicks do have two of the best corner 3-point shooters in the league anyway. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yo, Maddie, what are your thoughts on the 76ers?
I mean, I know that they're always injured, but I can't lie. I'm a little bit scared of them because even an injured Joel Embiid was still giving the Knicks fits last year. So if on the off chance, that like 20% chance that they are both healthy, maybe not 100% healthy, if they are both healthy, meaning Paul George and Joel Embiid, I can't hit him with that. I want to, but I can't hit him with that because I know what they're capable of, and I know that Joel Embiid is a top 5 player in the NBA when he's healthy. And
what are they capable of? In a second round exit.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they're capable of beating the Knicks in that first round. Should the Knicks draw that matchup again? Because Embiid is gonna eat up Towns. Like, unless if we have Mitch back, that would be great. But if we're gonna call Embiid and the Philly players injury prone and saying they're not going to be ready, then how can you say Mitch is going to be ready? So a little bit worried on that front. But also looking at the comments here, Keith Turner, talk about if we would have kept Hartenstein, we would have rolled to the championship. We wanted to keep Hartenstein. The Thunder could pay him almost 3 times more than the Knicks were allowed to.
Double.
So he would have been here. It was still a difficult decision for him, according to himself.
He literally said that if it was a bad team, he wouldn't have went.
He wanted to go to the Knicks, but Chris, am I crazy for saying, as a Knicks fan, I tell Isaiah Hartenstein, go to the Thunder, you deserve the money?
Absolutely go to the Thunder. Yeah. Like, do your
It hurts, but you have to let him go. It's what's right for him.
I don't fault it at all. I don't fault it at all for him. Knicks were a solid team, but the Thunder are still a solid team, and they're going to give him more money. Makes sense for the better.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not even not faulting him. I am promoting it. He has to.
Exactly.
It would have been bad. It would have, because this might be his one and only time to get paid.
And now if the next years, at 28, he's a free agent. Instead of with the Knicks, he's getting the same amount of money from the Thunder over 4 years. So it's 4 years of a contract, not a guaranteed starting spot with Mitchell Robinson being there. He's gonna get paid better throughout his career because he went to the Thunder.
And he could always go back to the Knicks as well. If he ever wanted to go back at the end of his deal, he could always go back home.
Yo, the OKC Thunder are scary, bro. They are scary. But to keep it back to the Knicks, I want to ask the Knicks panel, and of course, Bruce, you are our guest, so obviously you could join in. But I want to ask, which has had a bigger impact, the leaving of Isaiah Hartenstein or Dante DiVincenzo being included in that trade? Which one, in your guys' eyes, has the bigger impact?
Chris, you can go first. Dude, are you thinking it's easily Hartenstein? How is it anyone other than Hartenstein?
My mind goes to Hartenstein. I loved Dante DiVincenzo, so it's tough for me. But also we're seeing DiVincenzo.
Man, I don't think it's easy.
Rough.
It has to be easy
from Dante so far, dude. Like, he's not looking good at all.
So Dariel, right now we need the rim protection from Hartenstein. If Mitchell Robinson can't stay healthy, we know Hartenstein's a rim protector and he's getting offensive rebounds. He's a hustler, which is what we want to see from all 5 Knicks on the floor under Tom Thibodeau. We want to see the hustle. I really think Dante DiVincenzo, the shooting hurts to lose, but we brought in guys who can shoot as well. We can't fully recreate him, but we can partially recreate him in a way that we have not been able to recreate Isaiah Hartenstein.
Who did we get that we can partially recreate Dante?
So we campaign. What'd you say, Chris?
Mikal.
I mean, Mikal does play defense, and
So he's much better.
honestly, you're right. You're right. He can be
I'm
part
with
of it.
Chris on this one. Yeah, he said Mikal. I agree with Chris. You said campaign. I'm gonna virtually smack you across the screen.
No, I'm saying his shooting. He can bring back the 3-point shooting that goes out the door with Dante DiVincenzo. I'm not talking about the defense and the other stuff.
33% from 3 this season. I know Hartenstein hasn't played a game yet, but come on, it's beautiful.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I think Hartenstein is the bigger impact, but I don't think it's an easy decision because Dante, we've seen him in the playoffs when he was literally the best player on the floor when everybody was dealing with injuries. Like, he stepped up to the plate, bro. Yeah. I'm just saying, Dante in those moments is like, oh, all right, bet. Like, okay, cool, I'm here. Like, I'm here. I'm going to drain these threes. And, like, he steps up to the moment. And I'm just saying right now, the way the Knicks are looking, like, yeah, Deuce's confidence is better than the last couple seasons, but we still haven't seen him get to the consistency that we need him to get to. Campaign, you guys know how I feel about campaign.
Not get another drink.
You guys know how I feel about campaign. So other than those two, Tyler Kolek is a rookie. And I don't know. That's why I'm just like, oh.
I wish I could say Kolek, but he just, the defense isn't good enough. The passing, do you think he's a good passer or not, Dariel?
He's good at like a little bit of everything.
I just feel like every time I watch him, he's throwing the ball away. It's either into the hands of a defender or it's out of bounds.
I see that.
Yeah, so that's what I don't like to see. But the shooting is phenomenal, or maybe it's not phenomenal, but for where he is as a player, I'm excited for it.
Dude, he just looks so frail, and he's a rookie, but he just looks like a 12-year-old kid playing at the park, bro, against these behemoths men. And I'm like, dude, we can't expect anything from this kid.
Hey, so what are you expecting out of him? Because for me, I'm just expecting a guy who can potentially come in, hit a couple threes, not turn the ball over, and not be a cone on defense. He's going to be bad on defense always, but just not be a cone.
I'm not really expecting much. Like, all I want from him this season is just like, yo, dude, just learn the NBA game. Learn the rotation.
Next season going forwards, I meant. This season, I'm with you. This season, nothing.
Yeah, okay, so next season moving forward, what am I expecting from him? Just, I don't know, man. That's so hard to answer because, dude, he's a lot of projection. Frail, bro. He's so frail. He better put on that muscle, dog. He better put on like 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, bro.
Yeah. Wait,
go ahead.
Yeah, so wait, Bruce, Marquette's in the Seton Hall's in the Big East, right? So Tyler Kolek played against your guy.
I've seen Tyler Kolek play. He is very, very good. I would say he's obviously more of a college. Like, I would project him more to be a better in college, but I think his game can translate to the NBA. I think one of his strong suits in the NBA, or in college at least, was his playmaking ability, and I haven't been able to really watch the Knicks, but Matt, if you're saying that he's making some wrong reads or making some wrong passes, I think that's something that's definitely going to need to elevate, because I think that's one of his like main staples of why he got into, is going to get into the NBA and be that type of creator for the point guard. But yeah, I've seen him play, and I also got to see the Celtics rookie play Baylor Shireman as well, and he would light it up Seton Hall as well, because he went to Creighton, and he was very good at
I remember watching him in March Madness. He was looking really good. Dude, Creighton might be nice. That dude Kalkbrenner put up a ton of points a couple nights ago. That was insane.
Exactly. I have a question for you guys on Knicks.
Bruce, go ahead.
On Knicks. So this is a little bit of a weird question. It's a little bit hypothetical, but if you were able to re-sign Hartenstein and bring back Hartenstein, correct? Would you be able to do that Karl Anthony Towns trade with including Mitchell Robinson instead, and still keeping Isaiah Hartenstein to have him be an interior presence with Karl Anthony Towns? Like, would that have been possible?
I can give you the exact explanation on this.
Then do it.
Everything that happened. No, actually, I'm going to save it for myself. No, so essentially on draft night, the Knicks tried to trade Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, And the first round pick they gave, and I believe they also were trying to include the other first round pick to Minnesota for Towns. Minnesota said, no, we don't want Mitchell Robinson. He means absolutely nothing to us. We have Rudy Gobert. Feels pointless to go get Mitch too, especially because they also have Naz Reid, and they're right to say that. Minnesota countered by saying, we want Dante DiVincenzo. Knicks said no. Mitchell Robinson then appears to be out till January, and I'm really not, and I've said this on camera before, I'm not supposed to like talk about this because who I heard it from is a friend of someone who I'll just say, because I can't say who it is. He'd know. The person would know.
It's Tom Thibodeau.
It's Tom.
He can't say it, but I can.
Yeah, me and Matt, I think I told you it off camera. I'll tell you two guys also off camera who it is, but like I can't say it on or he'll stop like leaking stuff and I'll stop hearing stuff. Because me and Matt were on a stream and I literally said the Knicks are going to trade Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns tonight. Like 2-3 hours before the trade happened, me and Matt were on a live stream talking about how the Knicks are about to do that. But so the Knicks, they tried, and this is common knowledge that went out there, they tried to trade Mitch and Julius for Towns, but then when Mitch got hurt, he had the stress fracture. He was playing on a not fully healed stress fracture. When Embiid pulled his leg down, it damaged the bones in his foot to the point where the Knicks were pretty sure Mitch's career was over. They thought his career ended. Like, the doctors were like, he's done. Basketball's over. No more basketball. His career's over. Sorry. Like, this is terrible, but Mitch's career is done. Now, that didn't obviously happen, but he's out till January. The Knicks knew they were in dire need of a big man, were willing to give up Julius, someone they were having a bunch of contract extension issues with, for Towns, and with the fact that they were worried about if Mitch is ever going to come back or what he's going to look like even when he comes back. They were like, we need to go get a big man. And that kind of changed their previous, like, reluctance to add Dante DiVincenzo to any sort of trade for Karl Anthony Towns whatsoever. So they then decided to do it. Look, it's impossible to get Mitch into that trade in any sort of way. And part of the reason why they made the trade is because they lost Hartenstein, something they kind of knew was going to happen. Whether or not the Mikal trade happened, Hartenstein was going to get paid by the Thunder. That didn't change anything, and he would have left regardless. So if Mikal gets blamed, it's not his fault, especially because he got traded. But, like, it was just an unfortunate circumstance where the Knicks lost an awesome center for them, and then also their other one went down with an injury that is really indefinite, but is classified as until January. So it's become this whole situation. I would have loved Hartenstein and Towns together. I think a lineup of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Isaiah Hartenstein, absolutely they win the NBA Finals if they're healthy. I think it's just
that's a scary team.
Exactly. I don't want to say absolutely because there's other great teams, but like the Thunder are now worse. The Celtics are still great, but also you don't have to like
that interior presence is going to be difficult for Kristaps to handle because that's the one thing that scares Celtics fans was going up against Nikola Jokic with Kristaps Porzingis.
And he's soft. Oh,
exactly. Sorry. And also something about Porzingis, and Bruce, this is a genuine question. Do you think he's going to be all right when he comes back? He played on a knee injury. When guys that big play on injuries that need surgery, there's always the worry that their prime just ended and that he sacrificed himself for a chip. And if that did happen, shout out Porzingis. That is some legendary stuff that you gotta respect no matter what team he's on.
I think he'll be okay, and I think the Celtics are taking it a little bit progressive. The report is that he's going to come back early December, but what I've heard is that they want to make sure that when KP comes back, that he does not get sidelined for the rest of the year or even going into the playoffs. Now, obviously, saying that and having that happen is two different things. We obviously saw Kristaps go down multiple times throughout the season last year. But if they were to extend his holdout period because they are doing solid or, holding out at least in the Eastern Conference, looking like a top-tier team for an extra month or so, I have said that you should do it. So I think holding out KP to like January, possibly even February to make sure that he's going to be 100% and fully back is good. And I think we will see him be a little weird integrating himself, but we've seen Kristaps come back from these injuries throughout the playoffs and versus the Mavs and versus the Heat in both of those game ones, he was the main X factor in dominating those games.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced that he's going to fall off, but he might slow down a little bit where players like Derek White and Drew Holiday might have to take a little bit more of a step up. Or even big men inside.
Yeah,
KP is soft, man. KP is soft. Can't wait for KP. Yo, straight up, you guys are such in a good spot. You guys don't even need KP.
That's the thing. We don't need KP. It's just an added extra that helps us out.
100%. Now in the playoffs, depending on matchups, then that conversation could get interesting. Do you need KP? Do you need KP to repeat? Maybe. But honestly, man, like I'm not buying KP stock. Like I'm not interested in KP anymore. Like I'm not even just like as a Knicks fan. I don't want like if I'm like a general manager for any of the 30 teams. No, bro. Like you're injury prone, and on top of that, like you haven't really proven to be a player that we can depend on when it's like winning time. That great season he had with the Wizards, it was with the Wizards. Like what do we?
And it was without Bradley Beal hurt as well, and that's why he looked so good. And I cannot second that because with the second apron, we saw with your teams making the trade with the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves had to make that trade because Karl-Anthony Towns was on a long-term deal. Naz Reid was needed an extension. Nikhil Alexander-Walker was needed an extension, stuff like that. And with the Celtics second apron, that's eventually going to happen. And I do believe Kristaps Porzingis is going to be that first domino where he is going to be the player that they look to either move to shed some salary to get off that second apron to another team, or he signs on like a cheaper extension or something like that. But I agree with you, Dario. I think it'll be difficult. It'll be a little bit difficult to trade him than more acquiring him because some.
Sorry, keep going. My fault.
No, I'm finished.
So not Drew Holiday, who's older, like that. Because they gave him that huge extension, so that's why I asked.
So KP is on a cheaper extension than Drew, so that's why I think so. Okay. Or not a cheaper extension, shorter term. Sorry, KP I think only has 2 years. Drew has 4. Okay. But Drew also could be I don't see Derek or the Jays getting moved though. Those two I don't see, but Drew and KP I could see being expendable in the next 1 to 2 seasons after this season, depending if they repeat or not. That also comes into effect.
Very quickly from New Lord, Matt Ryan should debut tonight. Hopefully Tibbs took his medication and remembers that Matt is on the team. Hopefully Matt Ryan does show up tonight. Love the pure shooter. Played, 1 game on the Celtics?
Yes. I was going to ask you, has he played yet for the Knicks yet? Or
no, Wednesday was his first day on the team, so it was kind of surprising that he didn't show up, but... Now we're getting to some Matt Ryan territory, and the Knicks are running an 8-man rotation where Tyler Kolek's their 8th man, playing around 8 to 10 minutes a game. So there's no need for this playoff rotation right now, Tibbs. Please and thank you. But did want to mention that. Also, there is a question for you specifically, Bruce, because it's about the Celtics, and none of us know the answer. Will Jordan Walsh ever get minutes? That dude is a player.
I believe so, and Jordan Walsh has earned himself a role with this Celtics team this season. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but O'Shea Brissett was a little bit of our 3-and-D wing forward that was a aggressive offensive rebounder / small ball 5 dunker spot as a defender, and he played that role really well, and Walsh has kind of taken over in that role. And I think that if Hauser is ever to have a night where he's off on shooting as a 3-and-D wing, Walsh will kind of take over for some of those minutes possibly. But Walsh has kind of inserted himself as just like a scrappy do-it-all type of player for the Celtics, and he's getting like 5 to 6 minutes like a night with JV being out now. But I think throughout the season, he's going to cement himself more of a role where he can get 10 minutes a night. And then in the future, he could also, I think, turn into that little, like, I said this when he was drafted, but like the Grant Williams for the Celtics, a strong defender, stretch 3-and-D type guy, but he's just going to be a hard-nosed guy that's going to do everything and grab rebounds, play loose balls, and do all that type of stuff.
Yo, Bruce, I want to ask you, we don't have to dive deep into it. I just want to hear it from a Celtics fan's perspective. In your opinion, who is the best player on the team?
Jason Tatum.
Okay, cool.
I was about to ask like the exact same thing. Do you think Tatum deserved the MVP over Jaylen Brown?
No.
No,
Jaylen
absolutely.
Brown deserved the MVP because Jaylen Brown was the best player, but the slack that Jason Tatum got was ridiculous because Jason Tatum led the team in every single statistical category throughout the entire finals and throughout the playoffs.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Brown did show up in the conference finals and the finals better offensively because it was more of a better matchup. Tatum had the struggle shooting, which definitely hindered it, but Tatum led the team in assists and rebounds, and when KP was out, Tatum averaged, I believe, a double-double
Wait, you said that Tatum led the team in every statistical category in the playoffs or in the finals?
Finals.
Yeah, he did.
So he was the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics?
He averaged the most points. He averaged the most rebounds. He averaged the most assists. He averaged the most all that stuff. And you can look up the stat graphic.
Interesting. No, because I remember looking at it. I remember looking at Jaylen Brown was he. I guess so. Jaylen Brown was more consistent, which is why he won.
Jaylen Brown was more consistent in that and took over in that because he was leading the games more. Tatum was more of a facilitator and more setting up the offense, where Brown was taking over for the offense and really like dominating on the stat sheet with the scoring.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
And Brown also had the job of guarding Kyrie and Luka for a majority of the series too.
Okay,
so he was playing on both sides.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. Tatum is the best player on the Celtics. I'm in agreement with you. But obviously there's a dialogue between the two.
Yeah, there's a dialogue. My kind of personal opinion is that they're 1A and 1B. One struggles on one side, the other picks up for the slack on the other side. As long as they can do that, then it's fine.
Okay, so there is something I want to do because we are hitting the wind down era. Almost time for the Knicks game. So two things. One, Dariel, I can only see the bottom of your head again, bro. There it is. We're getting better. All right. So something that Matt and I have done in the past that is just a fun thing to do. A little bit of a drinking game. I have a bit of this cider left that they hooked me up with. It's called Treasury Cider at Fishkill Farms. They hooked me up. Shout out to them. All I had to do was give them the money to buy it, and then they gave it to me for free, dude. But it's Two Truths and a Lie NBA edition. We kept this to the Knicks last time, but that's just so specific that we're going to do a little bit of NBA. I will say, we're on Knicks Digest. One thing could be a truth, could be a lie. Involve the Knicks in some way. And so basically give me two hot takes that you agree with and a hot take that you're just making up and you're just completely blowing smoke. Now, because I'm kind of throwing this at you guys out of thin air, I will go first. Okay, and if you guys guess wrong, me and Bruce will take a drink for Matt and Dariel. So
there we go. I was going to say, just calling it a drinking game doesn't make it a drinking game. You got to actually tie it back to the alcohol somehow.
We'll hold it down on that front. But, okay, so I'm going to throw them at you. I'm just kind of looking around my room at Knicks jerseys for some motivation. Okay. Real quick, just as a little buffer so I could think for like 2 seconds. Bruce, you are a Celtics fan. What is your most memorable moment as a Celtics fan? Just while I think.
I would say my most memorable moment probably was winning the championship this season and being live on stream to watch it and have it being there with my fans. I watched them when they won in 2008, but I was very little. I was only 8 years old, so I remember it, but I don't remember it a lot. You know what I mean? So after coming out of that drought, obviously I've seen Patriots Super Bowls and Red Sox championships, but the Celtics mean the most to me. So seeing that was definitely a great moment, and then getting to go to the Dick's Sporting Goods and seeing everybody there after, and just like waiting in line at midnight was definitely fun.
Wait, are you sure the Patriots won championships? I don't remember any of those.
As Jets fans, we're legally required to dispute this.
I don't remember any of those.
Okay.
No, it's pretty cool. I mean, of course they won a lot. They had the second best quarterback in NFL history on their team. So
yeah, second best.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
best ever, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Maybe
we're
in a couple
also such
seasons.
haters, but we
Exactly.
I'm not hating. Brady didn't do what Mahomes did at the age that Mahomes did it.
You guys can talk about this. I still don't have my question. So.
Fair. I just got to see the three-peat first to kind of disdain it. You know what I mean?
If I could build the time machine for you and go forwards 3 months, we would see it right now. Because
I believe it. Trust me, I believe it. I root against it every single year because, like I said, it's the argument. You know what I mean? So when they played each other in the Super Bowl, I was always rooting against it, and then. Now that he's retired, obviously there's nothing for him to back it up. So it's like shit. You gotta kind of just wait.
The problem with that Chiefs Bucks Super Bowl is the whole Chiefs team just like no one showed up other than Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. So I know that people are like, oh, just because Brady won that game that makes it so Mahomes can't pass him, but the team didn't show up at all. Mm-hmm. At all.
Yeah, you have to look at the overall career at the end of the day to kind of view who's going to be the best. And I will agree with you. At the end of the day, he could surpass him. Like, I'm not going to say that he can't surpass him. I just think at this very moment, Brady's the best. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is the one that I do fear.
What I'm saying is right now, Brady is still the best, but when Patrick Mahomes threw the ball, dove and threw it at Clyde Edwards-Helaire's face mask, I said that guy is going to be the best quarterback of all time. I'm so confident that I was willing to say it there. I'm going to continue saying it now, but yeah, at this point, Brady's still the best, but Patrick Mahomes is going to overtake him, and he's only won 2 Super Bowls since I said that, so
that's fair.
Pretty good
we'll
so far.
John Jets Digest one of these days. All right, now since Bruce also does Suns Digest, I am going to mention the Suns in one of these also. So here we go to start. I will give my 2 truths and a lie. Obviously not in that order because that's not fun. Or maybe it is. Trying to trick you guys. All right, 1. I think that Precious Achiuwa is the most underrated Knick on the roster and fits beautifully with this team and should stay throughout the season. 2, Dariel's like, if that's true, I'm going to murder this guy. 2, I genuinely believe the Phoenix Suns have the best chance to go to the NBA Finals from what I've seen right now out of any team in the Western Conference. And 3, I think the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics are absolutely destined to have an Eastern Conference Finals juggernaut matchup. And I don't know the outcome of it.
All right, I'm going to just go ahead and call you out easily here. There's no way you believe the Suns are going anywhere. There's no way. But I also think that is something that you would say because you know that we know you. So I feel like that's the trap answer.
Yep.
And you said something about Precious. You've talked about how you think Precious is going to go. But the problem is before the third one, you paused. So actually, Chris, looking at all the facts, no non-Nick related, just Chris related, and knowing you, I'm going with Precious. I'm going with Precious. That's the lie.
College roommate.
That's a lie. All right, I want to hear what the other guys think, though. That's what I think the lie is.
I think the Phoenix one is the lie.
So I almost thought the Phoenix one was a lie, but I know from Chris that he said at the end that he said that now, and I think that previously, I know Chris wasn't a big fan.
He did. There were a lot of like qualifiers.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
There was a lot of stuff that he could potentially in the future walk back.
I'm gonna go with the Suns one. I'll go 2.
Dariel and Bruce say Suns, and Matt says Precious. My damn college roommate doesn't even know me, man.
What do you mean I don't know you?
It's the Suns. I don't.
Okay. I thought it was a trap. I thought it was too easy.
Yeah,
I said that.
Fair. When doing this, I'll be honest. Since I know that Matt knows me better than basically anyone on the planet, I did intentionally try to go after you because I'm like, if I say something that's even marginally like you'll know most of what I say. You're very good at calling me on my lies. So
because the thing is, we always talk about how the Suns are not like legitimate at all. So. And just like what we're talking about with Bruce, how it's like you kept saying you're like now I think this, and based on what I've seen this season, like there's just too many.
Quick sentence, you're gonna read me like a book, so I have to throw you off. The other two,
I mean, yeah, it's not even fair.
With me for 3 years. All right, Matt, since you got it wrong, you could go next. Throwing you into the hot seat.
Oh, was I supposed to be thinking of stuff?
I don't know. I want us all to do it.
I thought Dariel had the next one. You gotta tell me this before, because I'm turning this. I gotta do a better job.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, Chris, it's so much more difficult than you think.
How about? Okay, so Chris obviously did it. So how about we just choose somebody for next week between Matt and myself?
Okay,
that's a good idea. Or we could probably just both do it and actually plan it this time, so we could actually do that correctly.
Catch you guys by surprise sometimes.
I don't want to be caught by surprise, Chris. I want everything on stream to be structured. I want to be prepared. I don't want to be called out in the comments because you know how this YouTube thing works, Chris. We have so many people in the comments who are supporting and just leave great comments that we love talking to. We love talking to them, love talking with them. And then there's that one comment who's just like, you got one thing wrong. Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, you have no idea. Get the timeline right.
The entire Jets Digest video because then neither one of us knew if there was a quarterback between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Sam Darnold.
No, it wasn't that. It was a coach. And I was thinking, there's no way we had a coach for 1 year. There's no way we had a coach for 1 year. The thing was, earlier that week, I looked at something that had the years wrong on Rex Ryan. So I remember that, and that messed me up.
All right, quick quiz. What movie is Rex Ryan in?
No
Am I allowed to
idea.
answer?
You can answer, Matt.
That's my boy. One of your favorites.
Love that movie, dude.
But Chris, we got 4 more minutes left here.
Right.
Actually, we'll start with Bruce. What's the
Yeah,
score
let's start
prediction?
with Bruce.
Knicks, Bucks.
It's Bucks. Okay. How much? Let me give me 1 second. I'm just gonna look at the Knicks totals from the last couple games because I do think the Knicks are gonna win. I do.
Yeah.
I
So
do think
you
that
said
this
Giannis
Bucks,
is up tonight, right?
Yes, as of what I saw, yeah, Giannis is up, and the Bucks are also involved in the trade market, which I've seen as well the last couple of days. So we'll have to see what they're going to do. But I do feel confident that the Knicks will get the W tonight versus this Milwaukee Bucks team. I'll go with a 110-98 victory for the Knicks.
I was gonna say 112 to 100, so that's real weird.
Dariel, what you got?
I don't have a score, but I definitely got the Knicks winning tonight. Hopefully, man. Hopefully the Bucks after that win against Utah was it last night. Hopefully they didn't find anything, and then now they just like completely put everything together, and now they're just going like a 8-game winning streak, and the second game is us. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but yeah, I got the Knicks winning tonight, baby. Let's go,
Dude, I'm gonna try to speak into existence
Matt,
the
also,
offensive explosion. Yeah,
Skeletor,
just go ahead and cut me off there. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, because I don't like you. Skeletor, who you don't know, and I definitely don't know. We don't know him at all. He asked thoughts on the Pistons taking it all this year. Do you know who Skeletor is, Matt?
No.
ZB.
Oh, he just he's been texting me right now, so that's why I wasn't ready for something else. All right, so my score prediction.
Lions suck.
Score prediction. Knicks offensive explosion. Give me the Knicks 131 to
Oh
118.
my god!
Wow.
Explosion.
I like
So
it.
you got Brunson going for 30 and Cat going for 30, or what?
I got Brunson going for 34, 35.
Brunson
A little
cooks
higher.
these Bucks. He might put up a 40 burger tonight. He cooks the Bucks. Like,
Why stop there?
routinely, This man torches them.
Cat's been on fire. Offensive points wise, been on fire. So we have no reason to believe that he's not gonna
86.
score pretty well right now. So hey, unlikely, but you heard it here first.
Well, as this thing winds down, Bruce, I gotta say, I mean, the hat, it's just awful. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I was miserable.
That's crazy.
When the net, I almost called them both.
When the
Bucks.
Celtics, dude, I was like the Celtics. Okay, they won, but at least Duke player Jason Tatum gets a Finals MVP. Nope, no he doesn't. No he doesn't. Yep, hated every moment of that. Especially because the Knicks were better than the Mavs, but whatever.
Tibbs
Yo,
on the
Bruce.
clock.
Bruce, what do you say about everybody saying that you guys had a cookie cutter road to the NBA Finals?
It's not our problem.
Great
We-
question.
That's the correct
we
answer.
couldn't-
great
because y'all
question.
had
We
the
couldn't-
easiest road, but it's not your fault. Sorry.
Facts.
Not
No,
our
that's
fault.
literally you can't control the injuries and all that stuff. But
And we're the
Like-
1 seed, so we should be getting the fairest route. The easiest route.
Yeah.
Facts.
No, that makes sense.
oh my
Like-
god,
Brunson.
People are. They,
I won't disagree with you. If you guys were healthy and it was legitimate last year, it would have went 6, if not 7. Full swing, back and
Y'all
forth.
would've beaten
It could have
us
been a
last year.
The thing
It
is,
could've
the
been a toss-up.
Celtics would have beaten everybody fully healthy. They
Mhm.
just didn't have to. But if they did have to, they would have done it. So
Yep.
there's no asterisk. Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
no,
fair
there's
to
no
blame
asterisk.
teams for the team put in front of them. That team got there.
That's-
for
that's
one
how I
reason or
feel.
Another. Like, it's not
Mhm.
fair to be like, oh, well, the Toronto Raptors only won the finals because Clay and KD were injured. Yeah, I mean, we could start throwing asterisks on literally every NBA Finals if we're going to talk about injuries. It takes luck. Obviously takes a ton of skill. You need that spice of luck to win the NBA Finals. Every team does.
So-
Every team got lucky on the road.
100%. So Bruce, okay, so everybody that you went up against last year in the playoffs, if they were healthy, the Knicks. Well, you didn't go up against the Knicks, but if the Knicks were healthy, you still think the Boston Celtics would have gone past them?
Yeah, I think that last year we would have been able to beat past the Knicks. I think the toughest team that we would have ran into would have been the Knicks, and I know a lot of Celtics fans thought it would have been Philly. They would have rather played Philly than played Miami. were more fearful of Philly than Miami, but I don't understand that at all. But I think the Knicks were definitely the top team in the East last season. Definitely this season as well, kind of with like their matchups and stuff and how they kind of compared to the Celtics.
I am interested to, well, obviously we can't find out because it'll never go happen, but I am interested if Jimmy Butler never got hurt.
That's
With the
another
Miami
thing.
here.
That's another thing too. Like if Jimmy never gets hurt, they probably are a better. They probably make it 6. But their 3-point shooting in the Eastern Conference Finals compared to last year's first round was absolutely atrocious. So that like
Yeah, but Butler in playoff time, Butler just
exactly
becomes Jimmy Jordan, bro, and especially against you guys.
It's the cortisone
true,
shot
but
he gets in his wrist.
true. But I feel like if Milwaukee was healthy, I feel like Milwaukee with Giannis and Dame would have steamrolled Indiana and then would have matched up with us. Or matched up with you guys and then taken you guys down and they would have matched up with us or something like that. So it
We
would
were
have been tough
1-3
regardless.
against Milwaukee throughout the season, so you know how it goes. But
Exactly.
Interesting.
now that it's 7:30, do have to wind this thing down. Everyone who joined in and watched the Happy Hour stream, thank you for coming back to Knicks Happy Hour, episode 6. Thank you so much to Bruce Veliz for tuning in. Bruce, I mean, we talk in the group chat most days. You're always welcome on Knicks Digest, the Knicks Digest Happy Hour. Whenever you want to pop on, you shoot the text. You know I got you. Next week, tune in. We have another guest. He was actually in the chat in Bryson Atkins. And, well, as Bruce can attest, the man talks so much trash that'll be a fun one. Bryson, you
definitely a good
annoying human being, college baseball player. But him and Bruce are both up in the Boston area together. So shout out to the Boston area. Bruce, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was so fun. Guys, Dariel, you want to do the outro?
Nah, man, I don't have the
Dariel
energy.
does not have the outro in him right now, so I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to say the one thing that I stand by, even after it's no longer election season, but Taj Gibson for president anyway, guys.
Facts.
Always Taj Gibson for president. Taj Gibson for king. Guys, have a great day. And go Knicks. And you know what? Not go Celtics, but go Bruce and Celtics Digest. Subscribe to Celtics Digest. Subscribe to Suns Digest. Bruce is an awesome creator. Great videos. Super fun. Have a great day.